The arrival that shook the stars. The Galactic Confederation had known peace for nearly 1,000 years. 12 species had joined together under one banner, sharing technology, resources, and dreams of a united future. Their territories stretched across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Their cities floated among the stars like jewels scattered across black velvet. They had conquered disease, ended poverty, and built wonders that would have seemed impossible to their ancestors. Commander Zorith of the Villani species sat in the observation deck of Station Prime, watching cargo ships drift past the massive windows. His silver skin reflected the starlight as he sipped a warm drink. Life was good. Life was peaceful. Life was about to change forever. The first warning came as a gentle chime on his personal communicator. Then the chime became an alarm. Then the alarm became a scream that echoed through every corridor of the station. Zorith dropped his cup and ran toward the command center. Other officers sprinted alongside him, their faces showing confusion and growing fear. Nobody had heard the emergency sirens in decades. Most young officers had never heard them at all. The command center was chaos when he arrived. Dozens of technicians worked frantically at their stations. Holographic displays filled the air with data that made no sense. High Commander Prelax stood at the central platform, her 4 arms moving rapidly as she processed incoming information. Report, Zorith demanded as he reached his station. A young technician named Myvex turned to him with trembling hands. Something just entered our space through the outer boundary. Something big. How big? Myvex swallowed hard. 22 kilometers long, Commander. Our sensors are still trying to confirm the readings. Zorith felt his blood run cold. 22 kilometers. The largest ship in the Confederation fleet measured 3 kilometers. This thing was nearly 8 times that size. It was not a ship. It was a floating city. It was a mobile world. High Commander Prelax's voice cut through the noise. All stations confirm sensor readings. I need verification from at least 3 separate arrays. The confirmations came quickly. 3 arrays. Then 5. Then 12. Every sensor in the sector was reporting the same impossible data. A vessel of unimaginable scale had entered Confederation space, and it was heading directly toward the core worlds. Where did it come from? Prelax demanded. A navigation officer checked her screens twice before answering. The trajectory suggests it originated from Sector 7 Gamma, the quarantine zone. Silence fell across the command center. Sector 7 Gamma had been marked off-limits for centuries. Early exploration teams had detected primitive life on several worlds there. The Confederation had chosen to leave them alone, to let them develop naturally without interference. Standard protocol for pre-spacefaring civilizations. That's impossible, someone whispered. Those species were barely industrial. They couldn't build something like this. Zorith stared at the hologram of the approaching vessel. Its design was unlike anything he had ever seen. Harsh angles and practical shapes dominated its structure. It looked like something built by beings who cared nothing for beauty, only function. Only survival. Get me a species identification, Prelax ordered. The analysis took only moments. The ship's hull composition, its engine signatures, its communication frequencies. Everything pointed to one world in Sector 7 Gamma. A small blue planet orbiting an unremarkable yellow star. Humans, Myvex announced quietly. The vessel belongs to a species called humans. Zorith pulled up the old survey files on his display. Humanity. A young species, barely a few 100,000 years old. Aggressive, curious, and remarkably adaptable. The last survey had shown them fighting wars among themselves, polluting their own atmosphere, and struggling to establish permanent settlements beyond their homeworld. That survey was only 80 years old. How is this possible? Zorith murmured. How did they advance so quickly? High Commander Prelax had no answer. She was too busy coordinating the military response. Within hours, over 200 warships had been dispatched to intercept the human vessel. The Confederation was not taking any chances. Aboard the Eternal Horizon, Admiral Elena Vasquez watched the alien fleet assembling around her ship. Her face remained calm, but her mind raced through possibilities. They had expected fear. They had expected suspicion. They had not expected such an overwhelming response. Sensor count now at 217 vessels, reported Captain Marcus Chin from the tactical station. They're maintaining a distance of 50,000 kilometers. Weapons are charged but not locked. They're scared, Vasquez observed quietly. Wouldn't you be? Chin nodded slowly. The Eternal Horizon was massive by any standard. It had to be. Building it had taken everything humanity had left. Every resource, every scientist, every ounce of hope and desperation had gone into this vessel. Lieutenant Commander Yuki Tanaka approached from the communications array. Her expression was troubled. "Admiral, we're receiving multiple transmission attempts from the alien fleet. They seem to be using standard mathematical sequences for first contact." "Have we responded?" "We've sent peaceful greetings in every language we could reconstruct from their public broadcasts." "No response yet." Vasquez turned to look at the main view screen. The alien ships were beautiful in a way, graceful curves and flowing lines that spoke of cultures valuing aesthetics alongside function. Humanity's vessel must look like a monster to them. A brutish giant stumbling into a garden party. "Keep trying," she ordered. "We didn't come this far to fail at the finish line." The crew worked in focused silence. 12,000 people called the Eternal Horizon home. Scientists, engineers, teachers, farmers, artists, children. They had left behind a dying world and traveled for 30 years to find a new beginning. Now that beginning depended on convincing terrified strangers that humanity came in peace. Back on Station Prime, the Confederation Council had assembled for an emergency session. Representatives from all 12 member species filled the Grand Chamber. Their voices overlapped in a storm of fear and anger. "We must strike immediately," thundered High General Krivax of the Thorn species. His massive frame dominated the military podium. "That vessel represents a clear threat to Confederation security. Every moment of delay gives them more time to prepare." "And what if they're peaceful?" Zorath found himself speaking before he realized he had risen from his seat. All eyes turned to him. "What if they came seeking friendship and we answer with weapons?" Krivax's eyes narrowed. "Look at that ship, Commander. Every surface is armored. Sensor readings suggest thousands of weapon emplacements. Their reactor output could power half our fleet. That is not a vessel of peace. Or perhaps it's a vessel of desperate people who built the only thing that could protect them," Zorath countered. "We know nothing about what drove them to create this. We know nothing about what they've survived to get here." The debate raged for hours. Fear fought against caution. Aggression battled with curiosity. Finally, High Commander Prelax proposed a compromise. They would demand a demonstration of human capabilities. They would see exactly what this vessel could do. Then they would decide. Admiral Vasquez received the ultimatum with a heavy heart. A demonstration of power. It was exactly the wrong approach, but refusing would only increase suspicion. She authorized a minimal display of the Eternal Horizon systems. What followed terrified every observer. The point defense grid activated first. 40,000 automated turrets emerged from hidden compartments across the hull. Each one tracked debris and potential threats with perfect precision. The aliens had never seen such comprehensive coverage. Then came the shields. Designed to protect against cosmic radiation, asteroid impacts, and the harsh conditions of deep space travel, they enveloped the ship in a shimmering barrier of pure energy. A test shot from an alien destroyer vanished without effect. The manufacturing bays opened next. The Eternal Horizon could build anything it needed during its voyage. Spare parts, new shuttles, habitat modules, even food production systems. The aliens watched in horror as a complete scout vessel assembled itself in mere hours. Finally, the Eternal Horizon launched a portion of its support fleet. 500 smaller craft emerged in perfect formation. Mining ships, survey vessels, agricultural pods, and transport shuttles. To the watching aliens it looked like an invasion force. Silence fell across the Confederation fleet. They had come expecting a single dangerous vessel. What they found was something far more terrifying. A mobile civilization. A species that could sustain itself indefinitely among the stars. A people who needed nothing from anyone. Zorath watched the demonstration from Station Prime with different eyes. He saw the miners and farmers and builders. He saw the life support systems and water recyclers and food gardens visible through hull windows. He saw children playing in observation decks, pointing excitedly at the alien ships. "They're not invaders," he whispered to himself. "They're refugees." He made his decision in that moment. Whatever it took, whatever risk he had to accept, he would find a way to bridge the gap between their peoples. The galaxy had room enough for everyone. Humanity deserved a chance to prove themselves. The question was whether the rest of the Confederation would agree. Understanding the giants. The neutral station hung in empty space between star systems. Its simple design and lack of weapons made it perfect for delicate negotiations. Admiral Elena Vasquez stepped off the human shuttle with measured confidence. Her heart pounded in her chest, but her face showed only calm determination. Commander Zorath waited at the station entrance. His silver skin caught the light as he stepped forward with one hand raised in greeting. Behind him stood 3 other Confederation officials, their expressions ranging from curious to hostile. "Admiral Vasquez," Zorith said carefully, "thank you for agreeing to this meeting." "Thank you for arranging it, Commander." Vasquez studied the alien before her. He stood slightly taller than her, with large eyes that seemed to hold genuine warmth. "I understand you took considerable risk advocating for this encounter. Some risks are worth taking." Zorith gestured toward the conference room. "Please let us talk. There is much we need to understand about each other." The conference room was circular, designed to place all parties on equal footing. Vasquez sat with Captain Chin and Lieutenant Commander Tanaka on either side. Zorith faced them with 2 senior diplomats, while High General Krivax observed from a corner, his massive arms crossed over his chest. "Perhaps we should begin with the obvious question," Zorith suggested. "Why did your people build such an enormous vessel?" Vasquez took a deep breath. The question required honesty even though the truth was painful. "Because we had no choice. 83 years ago, our astronomers detected an object on collision course with Earth. Our home planet. A rogue planetoid, large enough to sterilize all life on the surface." Shocked silence filled the room. Even Krivax leaned forward with interest. "We had time," Vasquez continued. "Decades to prepare. But everything we tried failed. We couldn't deflect it. We couldn't destroy it. Our only option was to leave. To build something large enough to carry our species to safety. The Eternal Horizon," Zorith said softly. "We called it our Ark. 50 million people volunteered for the voyage. We could only take 12,000. 12,000 out of 8 billion. Vasquez's voice remained steady, but pain flickered in her eyes. "We launched 30 years ago. We've been searching for a new home ever since." One of the Confederation diplomats leaned forward. "What happened to your home planet?" "Impact occurred 21 years ago. We received confirmation through long-range sensors." Vasquez paused. "Earth is gone. Everyone who stayed behind is gone. We're all that's left of our species." The weight of her words settled over the room like a heavy blanket. Zorith felt his perception shifting. The massive warship wasn't a weapon of conquest. It was a lifeboat. The last desperate hope of a dying world. "The weapon systems," Krivax spoke for the first time. "Explain those." "Space is dangerous," Captain Chin answered. "Asteroid fields, radiation storms, cosmic debris. We needed defenses against everything the universe could throw at us. Those weapons aren't meant for war. They're meant for survival." "And yet they could easily destroy our cities," Krivax pressed. Vasquez met his eyes directly. "Yes, they could. But they won't. We didn't cross the stars to become destroyers. We came looking for a place to live and hopefully for friends to share that life with." Zorith saw something in Krivax's expression shift. The old general had spent his entire career preparing for threats. He had never encountered one that simply wanted to be left in peace. "There's something else you should know," Vasquez added. "We detected your civilization's broadcasts decades ago. We've been studying your languages, your cultures, your history. We hoped you might welcome us. We hoped you might understand what it means to face extinction and survive." The meeting continued for hours. Both sides shared information, asked questions, and slowly built the foundation of understanding. The Confederation learned about human determination, their capacity for cooperation under pressure, and their desperate love for their lost home. The humans learned about the Confederation's history, their struggles to unite diverse species, and their fear of anything that might threaten their hard-won peace. By the 5th hour, something remarkable had happened. The atmosphere had changed from suspicious interrogation to genuine conversation. Zorith found himself laughing at a story Captain Chin told about the early days of the voyage. Krivax asked detailed questions about human engineering with something approaching respect. Then everything fell apart. The station shook violently. Alarms screamed through the corridors. Everyone grabbed onto tables and walls as artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. "What's happening?" Vasquez demanded. Zorith checked his communicator with growing horror. "A faction of our fleet has broken formation. They're attacking your ship." The news hit like a physical blow. Captain Chin immediately tried to contact the Eternal Horizon, but interference scrambled all communications. Through the station windows they could see distant flashes of weapons fire. "Those fools," Krivax growled. "They'll doom us all." Vasquez turned to Zorith with blazing eyes. "How do we stop this?" "We can't. Not from here." Zorith felt despair washing over him. Hours of progress, destroyed in moments by fear and stupidity. Then something unexpected happened. The weapon's fire stopped. The station's sensors came back online, showing a scene that defied all expectations. The rogue faction had fired on the Eternal Horizon with everything they had. 17 warships had unleashed their full arsenals against the human vessel. The bombardment should have overwhelmed any defense. Instead, the Eternal Horizon had simply absorbed it. Those incredible shields had swallowed every shot without wavering. Not a single weapon had activated in response. Not a single missile had launched in retaliation. "They're not firing back," Tanaka whispered in amazement. Zorith stared at the sensor readings. The human ship had the power to destroy those attackers in seconds. Everyone knew it. The attacking ships knew it. And yet the humans chose mercy. A communication channel opened. Admiral Vasquez's second-in-command appeared on screen, calm despite the chaos. "Admiral, we've contained the situation. No casualties on either side. The attacking vessels have withdrawn. Please advise." Vasquez looked at Zorith, at Krivax, at the diplomats who had witnessed everything. "Maintain defensive posture only. No retaliation. Repeat, no retaliation." "Understood, Admiral." The channel closed. Silence filled the conference room. Krivax spoke first, his voice rough with emotion. "In my entire career, I have never seen such restraint. Your people had every right to defend themselves. They could have destroyed those ships. Why didn't they?" Vasquez answered simply. "Because killing isn't who we want to be. We've lost our home, our families, everyone we ever loved. We won't lose our humanity too." Zorith felt something break open in his chest. These beings had suffered unimaginable loss, faced overwhelming hostility, and still chosen compassion. They were exactly what the Confederation claimed to be, but so often failed to live up to. "Admiral Vasquez," he said formally, "I cannot speak for the entire Confederation. But I can promise you this. From this moment forward, you have at least one friend among the stars. I will fight for your people's right to find a home here. Whatever it takes." Krivax moved to stand beside Zorith. His massive form seemed somehow smaller now, humbled by what he had witnessed. "Make that 2 friends. I was wrong about your people. Perhaps I have been wrong about many things." The news of what happened spread rapidly through the Confederation. The rogue faction was arrested. The full council reconvened to discuss humanity's fate. But the tone was different now. Fear had transformed into curiosity. Suspicion had evolved into respect. 6 months later, the Eternal Horizon settled into orbit around a world the Confederation called Garden. Rich with resources and blessed with a gentle climate, it had remained unclaimed because no member species needed it. Now it would become humanity's new home. Admiral Vasquez stood on the observation deck, watching the first shuttles descend toward the surface. Children pressed against the windows, pointing excitedly at blue oceans and green continents. Some of them had never seen a planetary surface outside of pictures. Commander Zorith joined her at the window. Their friendship had grown strong over the past months, built on mutual respect and shared purpose. "Your people will thrive here," he said. "I'm certain of it." "We have you to thank for this chance," Vasquez replied. "You believed in us when no one else would." Zorith smiled, an expression he had learned from his human friends. "You proved yourselves. All I did was give you the opportunity." Below them, the first humans in 30 years stepped onto solid ground. They knelt and touched the soil. Some wept openly. Others laughed with pure joy. All of them understood that this moment represented something precious beyond measure. A new beginning. A second chance. A home among the stars. The Galactic Confederation had gained its 13th member species. The galaxy had gained something else entirely. It had gained proof that even the largest giants could have gentle hearts. That strength and compassion could exist together. That fear could be overcome through patience and understanding. Humanity had arrived among the stars not as conquerors, but as survivors. Not as threats but as friends. And the galaxy was forever changed by their presence. The end.